Welcome, Quilty family. Okay, so here's a video for what would be normally Sundays live. Will be a video this week because I will actually be out of my space on a Sunday. I'm doing a class on how to make a barn quilt. I'm kind of excited. Um, I will be happy to show it to you next week if it is completed. As I have never done one, I'm excited about this. So something I've never done. Today what we're going to do is we're going to go over what we need to do tomorrow and what you're going to follow through the rest of the week. And I just want to first apologize. I told you there were no cutting instructions, but I am actually going to put some cutting instructions right here over my shoulder. And as far as what was supposed to be cut this week, and it wasn't until I was preparing for this video that I realized that I had made an error. We were only two classes in, two sections of the block in, and I realized that we actually need three sections done to be able to do just the put together part of this particular section. So again, I apologize. So again, we're going to put the what you need to cut right here over my shoulder. And I will even include the paper in the email that I'm going to send out Monday morning. Actually, I might send it out Sunday morning, just so you know. So you'll have all week to cut this. It's a very simple block. We're going to get through it very quickly, and you'll be able to put this together over the weekend or over this next week, and we should be able to get together and then do the assembly part for this. So be aware that's coming up. And so that being said, let's get down here to the tabletop and I will show you what I have prepared. Okay, so as per the instructions in the quilt, in the cutting instructions that I had behind me, you're going to need 70 of these. You're going to need 35 of this, 35 of this, and 70 of these. And what's going to happen is you're going to make 35 of each one of the sets that we're going to do today. And yes, you will need to iron it open. Again, thank you so much for working very diligently to do this. It will pay off in the end. Even though you're wondering to yourself, gee, there's got to be a faster way to do this. Well, there probably is. In fact, I know there is a faster way to do this, but for the aesthetics part of this particular quilt, you really need to follow along the way that we have this set out. You will find it a lot more rewarding. You'll find that it will line up better. And so when you finally get to the end, you're going to look back at this block, this quilt, and you're really going to love it because you're not going to sit there and say, oh, I should have lined this up better. Oh, this didn't quite fall into place. So if you follow along as we're doing it, you will find that it is going to match up beautifully. Okay, that being said, first thing we're going to do is we're going to put this piece with this piece, kind of like what we've been doing. And then we're going to put this piece to this piece. And we're going to come over here to the sewing machine. And we're going to sew these two pieces together. So I hope everybody's week has been going very well. I actually had quite a busy week because I intended on doing this video a lot earlier, and then I would have seen that I had made an error on what was to come next. But as things go, I didn't realize it because, of course, it was the last thing on the list of things to do for this week. But that also means I got quite a bit done this week. Okay. So we're going to snip these apart. Now again, these are just the first two. If you want to do all 35 of each one in a chain stitch, please feel free. If you want to do one just enough to see what this little section is going to look like, then go ahead and follow that along as well. Just do the one, then go back later and do the other 34 of each color. So we're just going to kind of use our little wood iron. I like to call it the Carson wood iron because these were made by a friend who loves to do this kind of stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and bring the iron over. We're going to come back up to the tabletop. All right, and I did actually find my little one. How cool is that, right? Okay, so we're going to iron it open. If you find that using the wood iron helps you get that a little bit easier, please use it. If, just going ahead and running your iron over it does the trick for you, whatever works. Okay. Alrighty, that is done. And now we're going to do the next section. And pretty much this is it. This is all there is to this particular set. The biggest thing is trying to make sure you have everything going in the right way. So we're going to turn this seam side up. And we're going to put this here and this here. And again, this is important that you keep these colors in this kind of direction because it is important. If you get it on this side, then it's not going to fit together properly. So we're going to put the red up top right corner, and then the 2.5 inch right there, and then the black top right corner and the 2.5 inch right there. So let's go ahead and get this. Yeah, that's pretty good. Just trying to make sure it's the right size. And you know how I feel about it. I mean, I'd rather do any little extra trimming that you have to do today rather than wait and have to do it later on. So what I'm doing is I'm lining up this little section right here. I'm using this piece right here, and I'm putting it right down the center. And making sure that everything fits. And then I'm going to go this way. Okay. I don't like cutting backwards like that. It bothers me. Okay. So again, colors go up. Whites go on the left side. Top right corner. It's going to go right here. We're going to go slide it over onto the machine. And we're going to stitch down this side using 1/4 inch. And no, there's no scant 1/4 inch, it's just 1/4 inch. Okay? All right, let's come back over here. And we're going to stitch with the red side up on the right side. I'm going to make sure this is in there good. Okay. Alrighty. And we're going to snip. Ah, there we go. And snip that off. And come back over here. We're going to press these open. So we had embroidery class today, and it went really, really well. If I get a chance, I will cycle in some really cute ice cream cones. And as soon as I get the actual instruction pages finished, then I will load them up on my Etsy shop. Anybody who's interested in purchasing the pattern, it will be for sale. But those in my embroidery class get it for free because it comes as part of the kit. All right, so let's iron those down. Okay, and then we're going to use that handy dandy little 1/2 inch, 2.5 inch square. Looks like we might need to square that up a little bit more, so let's do that over here. Put that up there. So again, we're going to line it up right there. And line it up right there. So if we do this right now versus waiting until we put it together and then trying to make it work, this is also why I like the QS rulers, because they don't slide. When you have to take your hands off and turn this doesn't suddenly go crazy on you. Okay, so that's one down. There's one. Looks good, looks good. Keep it on there, keep it from moving. Okay, perfect. So now we have our perfect little 2.5 inch squares. And this is one more section. I'll trim that off later. One more section ready to go. So next week, we are going to be, there won't be any cutting instructions, I promise. The very next week we are going to be doing just some assembly of what we already done. And then the next week's we'll be working on assembly. Then we'll be working on cutting and starting to put together the next section. Okay. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and spend time with your families. We've seemed like we've heard so many of our friends and family who have been going through so much, and we just pray for them right now that they're getting some peace for what's going on in their lives, and we just ask the Lord to walk with them and give them a semblance of feeling some peace with what's happening, and that and knowing and keeping in the knowledge that everything is in God's hands, and we just keep walking, we just keep having faith and trust that everything He does for a good reason, even when it feels like there's no reason. We just have to hold your faith, hold your line, and I just thank you all for hanging with me and being with me today. And I hope you have a great weekend and a great Sunday. And I love you.